Hey everyone, welcome to Frank Analysis. I am Franco. And today I'm reviewing the book called Mastery by George Leonard, and he is an Aikido master. This book was written in the 90s. And as I've been saying on the show, we can't fix the world if we can't fix ourselves. This is a great self improvement book. It's really short, it gets through all the basics here about how you can enjoy the process. Because a lot of us tend to give up when we reach like a plateau phase and we're not seeing any results and we don't like that. We want to cut to the chase and see more results, more results, more results. But that's not realistic with anything, whether it be relationships, learning a sport, learning a game, certain tasks in your career, in your professional life. You're going to reach a point where you have a plateau, and that's completely normal. It's bound to happen. It's just part of human nature. So when you hit that plateau, it's important to just go along with it. Um, Keep at it, keep practicing, make it a habit. Eventually, you will start to see results. You're allowing your body, your mind to get used to where you're currently at, and then eventually you will be able to see those results. It's just going to have to take some time, and you're going to have to be patient. Don't give it up. It takes a very Zen-like approach. You can tell that George Leonard was really inspired by a lot of Zen philosophy, especially if you're familiar with Zen philosophy. You see how he took a lot of that inspiration, especially since he is an Aikido master. All right, so um, it's a very basic book about always practicing so you become a master at anything you want, whether it be a relationship, a sport, a game, a study topic, or just self improvement in general. The ideas in the book are not very revolutionary now, but back when it was first written in the 90s, a lot of these ideas may have been new to a lot of Western audiences. Nowadays, there's been a lot of self improvement books that have come out recently, and a lot of those concepts were inspired by things like George Leonard's Mastery. Um, and the book also talks about certain personality types to be aware of, certain traps you may fall into. Because people can take on either, and this is what George Leonard described as three types of personalities: the dabbler, the obsessive, and the hacker. These are three types of personalities that you can take when you um, are getting tired of being in the plateau phase, or these are types of personalities that prevent you from becoming a master, and you may notice that you may take on some of these different personalities, one of these three, in different parts of your life, if you're not full on committed to actually becoming a master at this part of your life. For example, the dabbler, they tend to buy like the best, the fanciest equipment. Like, let's say you want to start a podcast, and you buy like a mic, or like a good quality mic. You get a computer. You set up the channel. You set up like the thesis of what your channel is going to be about, but then you don't commit to it, or you make like one or two videos and then you don't know where to go from there. You don't continue to practice it, or you reach a plateau where you're not seeing a growth in your channel, and you just quit, and then you go on and you try something else, and then you might dabble in that. Like maybe you're trying to do tennis, and then you buy like the fanciest gear or something like that, and then you start practicing tennis. You get some newbie gains, and then you just don't continue after you reach a plateau. Or whether it's weightlifting, you're gonna have some newbie gains. You're gonna see yourself go up in weight that you're lifting, but at a certain point, you're gonna reach a plateau, and then you may not want to continue after that because you get frustrated. Then there's the obsessive, and this is someone that become so obsessed with the tasks that they want to become a master at, that they might try to take some shortcuts. Um, so, for example, with weightlifting, you got so attached to how you were gaining so much in weight that you were lifting, but then you reach the plateau and you don't want to go through the plateau phase. So then you just keep adding weight even though you can't physically lift it, or you can't lift it as efficiently, and then you could end up with an injury. And sometimes it may be such a detrimental injury that you're going to have to quit for a long time, and it's just going to be a huge setback to you. Another example would be somebody who's chasing after trends. Let's say you want to start a career on, or let's use a YouTube channel, since this is something you guys may be more familiar with. You want to start a channel, you reach a plateau phase, and then you just start talking about gossip on YouTube. Like, because that's something a lot of people may be attracted to at the time. But that it may be trendy for a certain period of time, but then after a while people move on. Oh, like Bernie Sanders isn't relevant anymore, or such and such content creator isn't really relevant anymore, and then you're just in that you're just like left behind with the times. And then the hacker is somebody that uh, always tries to create, or not really shortcuts, but they do just enough to get by, and then they just get bored, and then they don't commit to it. So they, like with weightlifting again, you gain a certain you reach a certain personal record with your weight that you're lifting, and then you just get bored with it and you don't want to commit anymore, and then you just stop going to the gym, and you're like, oh, I just did enough there, I was able to lift, I don't know, 135 pounds on the squat, and that's just enough, and then you just stop going. And then you go to another, like you try something new, like, I don't know, learning chess or something, and then you learn just enough just to get by, and you don't fully commit to it to become like this great chess player. So you may start to realize that you may be one of these three types of personalities with something in your life. Like, for example, maybe in your relationship, you've noticed that you're probably the obsessive type, where you feel like you have to do these extravagant things all the time with your partner, go on these like amazing trips, but then you're not self-aware of yourself and some of the problems that you have, and you think that a solution is just to have these shortcuts where you do these extravagant things, but then you're not self-improving yourself in other areas. Um, and then the relationship ends and you don't understand why it ended. It was because you were trying to use shortcuts and you weren't improving in other areas. Uh, I think it's really important for people to be aware of these types of traps you may fall into. And the book talks about a whole bunch of other things on how you can become a master at things, and how you can enjoy the process of learning. You're always going to be a learner. And the author brings up an example of how an Aikido master one time wanted to be buried with his white belt, not his black belt or the highest level belt you can have, but with the white belt, to symbolize that no matter where you are in your life, you're always going to be a learner. No matter how far you get into whatever it is that whatever task it is you want to commit to, whether it be tennis or in your relationship, you're always going to be learning, and you're always going to want to be improving yourself. And you're just going to have to love that. So I highly recommend this book. Once again, we're not going to fix the world if we can't fix ourselves. And stay informed, guys. that includes staying informed on how you can improve yourself.